The whole globe, as far as land masses go, is flat. Okay. What was with that? 100-talent hailstones? Hailstones the size of Volkswagen cars? Now, depending on how long God let that go on, what electronic equipment do you think is running at this point? How many power stations do you think could handle? Yeah, basically. The flip phones be the only ones working. But how many cell phone towers do you think survived? How many power stations? There's no cell phone network. There's no internet. There's not likely many running vehicles, for that matter. If there are, they were probably underground. If there are. And at that rate, I'm not sure how many horses survived either. So, or camels. I'm not sure how people were getting around. Pretty much people are back to foot. Okay? There's some movies out there that probably depict this pretty good. The Book of Eli, There's some vehicles, but it's getting gas for them as a chore. These vehicles are just pieced together, Pull a part off this one and see if it fits and hope to God it does. Yeah, one piece at a time. That's funny. Okay. So just keep that in the back of your head, okay? When you're imagining this scenario, imagine there's no electronics, there's no electricity, there's no light bulbs. Everything is done with sticks and, people are breathing in carbon monoxide because it's the only manner of light they can have is to have a house, a little pit fire in there, and they're trying to drill holes in there to get the carbon dioxide out, and it's just going to be bad. It's just going to be really, really bad. Okay, back in Revelation, verse 6. It says that she was given double for her sins. Okay? That's the punishment that Babylon will receive. And again, not the spiritual Babylon, this is the physical city Babylon. And the people is actually who we're talking about right here at this particular point. These people will pay, they will die, and they will suffer double for their iniquities. Now, it's kind of like everyone's kind of lumped in. The people who were not either Israelites or saved by any means, these people are somehow living in Babylon. Now, first off, I don't know why you'd want to be in Babylon unless you're like that's how you're staying under the radar. But maybe they have fake marks. I honestly, I don't know. I can theorize. Maybe they were drugged somehow and the mark was forced on them. So they are kind of like double agents. Because the mark has to be taken, not given. So if the mark is given and not taken, you're not held accountable for that mark. I've come across people who recently disagree with that, but, that's their opinion. Their theology can be wrong all they want. That would be the same as God condemning me for your sin. No. My God loves me. If you sin, He's not going to hold me. I sin all by myself. I don't need your help, So, I think that remains true even during this period of time. But it does remind me of Genesis 1:1, or Genesis 12:3, where God says, those who curse you, bless you, I will bless them. Those who curse you, I will curse them. Babylon has been murdering, slaughtering, and martyring Israel. And to say they reap what they sow would be an understatement. Because they're going to get twice as bad what they gave. There will be no escape or hiding. Which is a fascinating thing because let's go back in Revelation to the wrath of the Lamb scenario. They're going to be in caves, burying their heads in the sand, literally saying, fall on us, hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and the wrath of the Lamb. They know He's there. They don't even have the ability, they don't have deniability anymore. They have seen His presence in the third heaven. And they're just going to say no. So they know what they're doing. They're just thinking somehow that Satan's going to win and get them out of this. Which, if you're watching it, you're like, how? Do you have a plan? Can you tell it to me so, I can make my decision here? Verse 7 and 8. To the degree she glorified herself and lived sensuously. If you think about it, there's a lot of intimate descriptions here on how these people are going to live. sensuously, the wealth of her sensuality. I mean, it uses the word sensual in different terms several times. I mean, you have immorality and sensuality kind of used several times here. And I don't know if it's just me, but I find there's a link between the two. Because what did we call Babylon in chapter 17? What was basically the name for her? The harlot. Isn't all the harlot's sensuality immoral? I mean, you can be immoral and it not be sexually natured or sexual in nature, but in this, everything that's described, it's describing as being sexual in nature. Well, what is sexuality? It's intimacy. When you get intimate, we're talking like, what are we talking about here? Like they have beds and they're fornicating on beds of gold and silver and rubies and, I mean, stacking up $100 bills and throwing a pillow on top and having heydays on it. I mean, what are they doing here? Is this literal? Is this figurative? Well, honestly, I don't know. It might actually be that way. It really could. I mean, it's going to be the absolute maximum depth of depravity the human mind can conceive of. That will be what Babylon is like. But within these contexts, the depth of the immorality is sensual in nature. It goes down to the very core of their being. They have no love for God, and they have all willingly given themselves to Satan himself. Whether they know it or not, that's what they've done. Which means the Holy Spirit is basically restricted from doing anything with, about, to, and or for them. They are devoid of God's nature. So everything they do is sensual. When they shoot someone in the face, when they rape somebody, everything they do is going to be within the absolute maximum of their flesh, the desire of their flesh. How many people in here have to fight your flesh? Have to crucify it daily? These people will have no crucifixion. Their flesh will have free reign over their lives. It's going to be sick. These people they deserve more. I think God's letting them off easy, giving them only double for her sins. I really do. And to the degree she glorified herself and lived sensuously, to the same degree give her torment and mourning. She will say, I am queen, I am not a widow, and I will never see mourning. For this reason, in one day her plagues will come, pestilence and mourning and famine, and she will be burned up with fire, for the Lord who judges her is strong. Basically, she's going to make promises. I will never fall. I will always be here. And again, remember, this is not an actual person. This is a society. It is a state of being almost. We only refer to it as her because we're referring to the actual city itself, Babylon. But it's comprised of people, and it's led by the devil. I mean, it's going to be pretty gnarly. Part of me wishes that there would be no children during this time. Just so they would not have to go through what they're going to have to go through. Because when you take all rules off the table, we got pedophiles trying to make pedophilia okay now. We have I think of the name of the group, the Man-Boy Love Association, NEMBLA or whatever it's called. They're trying to get into the LGBTQ. What's the new one? There's another letter on there now. Just to keep adding letters to that community, that umbrella, that protection that makes everything okay. It's just, it's ridiculous. Okay. We need to jump over to the book of Isaiah now. All right, I'm going to be Isaiah chapter 13. I'm going to start with verses 1 through 5. And again, this is the destruction of the people. The oracle concerning Babylon, which Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw. Lift up the standard on the bare hill. Raise your voice to them. Wave the hand. Wave the hand that they may enter the doors of the nobles. I have commanded my consecrated ones. I have even called my mighty warriors, my proudly exulting ones, to execute my anger, a sound of tumult on the mountains, like that of many people, a sound of the uproar of kingdoms, of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts is mustering the army for battle. They are coming from a far country, from the farthest horizons. The Lord and his instruments of indignation to destroy the whole land. This is how God's going to destroy the people. The people who dwell in the city, Babylon. Because again, there's two stages. You have the destruction of the people, and you have the destruction of the actual city itself. It's going to happen back to back. It's a one event, but there's two parts. There's part 1 and part 2 of the same event. It tells us, if you read all the information that goes in between here, it basically is going to tell you that the Medes, the area of the Medes, which is everything north of Iraq. You have Iran, you have Turkey, you have Russia. All that area is where it's going to come from. This army is going to come from. Now, where is the Antichrist? North Iraq area, okay? Somewhere in that general vicinity, Babylon. The Euphrates River dries up, okay? When it dries up, what does the Antichrist do? Sends out his 3-toed demon guys, go get my armies. Now, is he going to sit there and wait? Probably not. He's going to head over to the staging ground, the Jezreel Valley. He's going to set up camp and wait for his armies to roll in. Okay? That part we know. Him being there is our assumption. And it makes sense. And as we get there, I'll tell you why. So we have, all right, now based on geographical location, Israel is west of Babylon. You have Babylon. You have the Euphrates River east of it. It's going to dry up, allowing access to the far east, where Israel is, up on the coast. So he's going to head over there. His boys are going to go get all his other kingdoms. Russia, it might be a kingdom of itself, and it might have incorporated other nations. But somewhere over there, because Iran is northeast of Israel, or of Iraq, and you're going to have, they will be behind him. Because first off, the Antichrist is probably going to get his guys and head over there right then and there, leaving, and he's going to gather all his forces. So in his mind, which, considering the Bible is telling him what's going to happen, I don't know why he would do this. Unless he doesn't have a choice. I'm not really sure. But it seems to me, because he has a playbook right here. God's saying, this is what you're going to do, this is what I'm going to do because you did it. You think, okay, well, I'll show you. I don't believe my forces here. No, he's not. I don't know why. Again, I really say something I don't understand. God's he's provided the book on what he's going to do. He's written Satan's future for him. You'd think all he has to do is all I have to do is not do that. Okay, and he'll be wrong. But God can't be wrong. So does he do it because the book says he has to do it? I don't know. It gets, if you start thinking about all these, it's like having an almanac and giving it to yourself in the future. It's like, why would you do that? He says you're going to do it and you're going to lose because you did it. Why don't you just not do that? He does it anyway. It has to be. I can do what he said and still win. Okay. You say so, buddy. You're stupid. Okay. What we read there in Isaiah, God is basically saying, I am gathering the army. And you read all the in-between stuff, it basically tells you roughly where they are, but they will bring you out of the north. So imagine, let's just call it Russia. I'm not saying it's Russia, I don't know who it is. But let's just call it Russia. Russia's going to come down southeast or southwest and head towards Israel. They're going to pass right by Babylon. Oh, it's unguarded. Well, we already had 3 turn against the Antichrist, and he destroyed them. But they were present when he destroyed them. Now they're not there no more. And his city is abandoned, basically, except for the people that live there, the non-military people. His army is gone. There's no one left to protect it. So it makes perfect sense that Well, while we're at it, we don't like him anyway.